Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
Mario Götze! Mario Götze!
Tonight, whether you call it football, or soccer, a German American and a German in America dare to call it Fußball. German football from an American point of view. Let's add some buns to that hamburger and join them for the Schnitzel Boys Deutschland Hour.
Hello.
Oh hi. Oh hi. Hi.
Ohio.
Oh hi. What's
Ohio.
going on? How are you
Welcome
doing?
to the Deutschen Hour. Good.
Yeah.
Happy Oktoberfest.
Happy Oktoberfest. My son is in well, he's not in Munich yet. He's going on Wednesday, and he's an 18-year-old.
Legal.
Good luck.
Hey,
Good luck
this
to
is
the
something I had-
Oktoberfest.
This is something I thought the other day. I'll ask you this. No one asked me this, but I don't know what the answer was if someone were to ask me this. When did you have your first beer? And I'm just like, I have no idea. When I was 8? I don't know. Like when I was a kid, my parents would always have, I'd always get to taste it. It was never a thing. I never really liked beer. And as a joke, my parents wanted me to order a beer when I was in elementary school, when I was at the bar with them. And like, I have no idea what the answer to that is. Do you remember when you had your first beer?
Nope. My uncle had a bar, and so I had some opportunities as a younger person. But yeah, I don't remember a specific moment. We had to. My son was turning 15 a couple of years ago, and my little brother was very excited about this. He was like, because in Germany at 15 you can legally drink under adult supervision.
I was going to say, I never know what the law is, so it's 15.
I know, it's 16 for beer and wine, 15, if you got a parent with you. And so my brother was like, he was all ready to go, but then, and we actually went to the Bochum. This is soccer related because we went to the Bochum. I mean, my brother struck out that day this was still COVID restricted attendance, etc., and you couldn't get any tickets. And he was like, "Oh no, we'll go. We'll find our way in." And there was no chance. Everybody had to have a letter to prove like there was no scalping tickets. It was all, the Germans did.
Hold on. In Germany, during the COVID restrictions, your brother's like, "Don't worry, I'm sure they'll bend the rule. We'll sneak in."
Yeah, I know. He was
You assume that was going to happen?
I don't know.
No,
He was
never,
he
never
thought
in a
he didn't
million
think we would sneak in. He thought we could scalp a ticket somehow, or there was going to be some kind of resale market. There was no chance. So we instead went to this bar nearby. And he tried to get my son to. My son had no interest at the time. He was like, "Ugh, this is gross."
Right.
And my brother was so frustrated. He bought everybody. He made everybody drink. He bought Jägermeister shots for the whole bar, just because he was so mad. And we had, it was. But since then, the two of them, my brother and my son, they got to hang out again last week, and he was happy to see it. My son's attitude has completely changed. He's now much more open to this kind of activity a couple years later.
Well, he's going to München during Oktoberfest.
Yeah, good luck.
Saw a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger kicking off Oktoberfest yesterday.
Oh,
Apparently, he
very
goes
nice.
every year, which I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like,
He
I've
likes
never
that kind
been.
of- he likes that kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm surprised. Figure, anyway.
I've only been one time. It's I don't know. It's a lot of. It's like it's kirmes. It's like like a fair with rides and stuff, and then a lot of drinking. Very.
I just have
serious
anxiety.
drinking.
It looks like a bunch of people rushing to get a table. And then
it's
they
pretty
just drink
crowded.
Beer and it's crowded. That just gives me anxiety. I was like, I don't know if I want that.
Well,
but I
you
should
gotta-
do it once, I guess. I should do it once.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
I told myself I would do New Year's in Times Square just once. I never ever did.
No.
I never ever did because every year I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And every year the decision was always, I'm not going to do that. And now that I'm older, the decision's even stronger. I'm not going to do that because it's just, all I think of is peeing when I see that. You know what I mean? Like people stand there for 2 days straight or full day straight. I'm like, what do you pee? How do I pee?
They got porta potties.
Yeah, but then you lose your spot, right?
No, you don't lose your spot. You get like.
Have you done it?
But I have my brother has. And other people I know have you get there and you get assigned a corral of some kind. They like as people arrive, they put them into little areas together. And people I guess make friends there because they get teamed up with other random strangers and then they spent many hours together and friendships form sometimes. So there's stories like that. But yeah, and then you have your corral and once you're in and then you can go in and out and get stuff and go pee and do stuff like that.
All right, you convinced me. I'm going this year. I'm doing it. I'm flying to New York. Welcome. I'm doing the New Year's. So speaking of corrals, there were corrals. There were Bundesliga corrals over the weekend. What is a corral? A group? A group of people? What would be a corral?
Is like a corral is a
corral reef. Corral reef.
No, that's coral. That's different. It's a different word.
That I know.
That has one R. Corral. There's also choral with a CH. That is a work of music.
A choral, right?
Yeah, that's then there's a choral, which like a reef, CORAL, but what we're talking about is a corral, which has 2 R's.
Like corral.
Yeah, it's like an enclosed. It's like an enclosed area of some kind, right? What is
so like
the
a
definition?
Stadium? Well, so a stadium would be a corral, like a Bundesliga stadium, like Stuttgart Stadium.
Corral is a pen for livestock, especially cattle or horses on a farm or ranch. But as a verb, it also means gather together and confine a group of people or things. Example: the organizers were corralling the crowd into marching formation. So a corral is it's like a pen, and that's exactly what that is. A picture here of a corral, which is a pen for livestock, and that's exactly what that looks like in Times Square. They have these little pens that people
with Kelly Ripa looking over
get to hang. Kelly Ripa
and Ryan Seacrest.
Dick Clark, the face lifted yet again.
Dick Clark, rest in peace. Well, you know what else is a corral? Soccer stadium. Like a soccer pen.
Okay.
It's like a pen. We have to connect this somehow.
You committed yourself to having to connect it. So a corral. Yeah. So let's shall we corral the results of the weekend?
Sure. There weren't a lot of big surprise results. I guess the one big one that sticks out is the Stuttgart Dortmund.
Yeah.
Right. That was a really great game. All three games on Sunday were great, by the way. I watched all 3 of them in a row at work. They're all great. Oh, three really great games.
Very nice.
For different reasons. But as far as surprising goes, everything was expected to moderately expected. And then Stuttgart Dortmund stuck out. Stuttgart destroyed Dortmund 5-1.
I was
surprised.
That was
the big. Yeah. What were you surprised by?
I was surprised by how bad Bochum were.
I was not. See, that's why I was moderately surprised. Because I was just like, Bochum was at home. Weren't you guys leading Kiel for a bit?
We fell behind early, then we got a lead 2-1, and then we gave up the equalizer late, which sort of makes it seem like we got unlucky, but we were really lucky to even get the point in the scheme of things. Kiel were,
I'm not surprised,
significantly better because the pressure, the responsibility of the home team, because we're bad, because our team is bad.
Well, just because that's your level. It's like Bochum. You can't be surprised when your level plays against a team of your level and you guys tie. So that's why I wasn't surprised. I was like, you guys were at home. It would have been nice to win. But this was. Tied, that shows you that you guys are really bad. There are 3 clear losers right now in the Bundesliga. 5 weeks in, 3, not 4 or 5. There's 3. It's Bochum, Kiel, and St. Pauli.
I mean, exactly as I predicted. I guess I have that.
Yeah.
I can take solace in having been right. But yeah, I mean, I thought there were some encouraging signs in the early weeks on the ball. I mean, we have only scored 1 goal so far, so that's definitely not. But I thought there was a little bit of quality, but this was a must-win game. You know, this is the level, and so if we can't beat Kiel at home, that means we're not going to win a lot of games this season. And I think even more so than the result, which was definitely a tie that felt like a loss, it was also just discouraging how Kiel, who have been terrible so far as well, and have the worst goal differential, and I mean are still in last place because of their terrible goal differential. How significantly better they were in this game than we were, and so yeah, that was a little discouraging.
Yeah, of the 3 teams, St. Pauli played RB Leipzig this weekend to a really fun, energetic home scoreless draw against RB Leipzig. So the 3 bad teams this year, Bochum, Holstein Kiel, and St. Pauli, all got their first point over the weekend. So I guess it's good news for them. They all got their first point. So yay!
We don't.
What's the last point they'll ever see?
There's no need for the sarcastic clap. That's just hurtful.
Well, I am glad. I'm like, well done. Your first point.
No, you don't
enjoy it.
This is not sincere. This is not a sincere.
It's not super sincere. No, it's not super sincere.
All right.
I don't predict them getting any new points anytime soon. Enjoy the point.
Yeah, it's
St. Pauli though got close. I don't know if you saw that game, but St. Pauli could have stolen it right there at the end. They were playing energetically, and St. Pauli might have been able to get a win at home over RB Leipzig, which shows a little bit of promise for what's going on at the Millantor and the Reeperbahn in Hamburg at St. Pauli. So there's that. But Kiel and Bochum was like, well, Lahm. How would you translate Lahm? Not Philip Lahm.
Lahm.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah, probably. Lame. Is that the word? Lame. Lahm. Richtig lahm. Really lame.
Not gegen Elend. Not gegen Elend. That's what I like to say. Despair against poverty. What?
But VfB Stuttgart had all their best players stolen to them from Dortmund over the summer.
Yeah, that didn't
So when
work
Dortmund came into town with their Waldemar Antons and their Gerassis did get us a goal. Stuttgart said, "Oh yeah, well we got the tactics and we got the coach you don't got," and they beat them 5-1, and they destroyed. And boy, does Dortmund have egg on their face. We had a Dortmund fan come on last week, and I should have had him on again. I want to hear his response to that. After a Stuttgart and Dortmund, we'll talk about this in a bit, but Stuttgart and Dortmund both played midweek. Stuttgart at Real Madrid, Dortment at
the Champions League. We should talk about that.
We'll talk about that. And then Dortmund got themselves a good 3-0, right? Maybe 4-0 win. I forgot that. A confident win down in Club Bruges.
3-0 in Bruges, yeah. And
Stuttgart had themselves a great game in Madrid with a bonkers Endrick goal.
It was really fun. It was a really fun game. But Real Madrid, like you couldn't help. You were like, we've seen this movie before. And
my mom was texting me, "It's a good game," and I was like, "Real Madrid's going to get it late. They always get it late. That's just the Real Madrid. They're such a good team. You know exactly when they're going to win the game.
The
Undav, the 80th minute.
The Undav equalizer was unexpected. That kind of gave the game a second win because after Real because Stuttgart was really, they came out and they were like, we know we can't defend, so we're going to just attack. And they did that for really most of the game. And it was pretty impressive. And of course, in the first half they didn't score, so you're just like, all right, we've seen this all before. Leipzig and Dortmund, and if you can't score, then it all means nothing, obviously. And then Real got the lead, and I was like, this is it, now it's over. But then Dennis Undav scored on a header, and Stuttgart really, even after that, remained fearless, kept going, had their chances, but then, of course, As
with Real
as
Madrid,
things go with Real Madrid.
if you're not leading them comfortably by the 80th minute, hold on to your butts because Real Madrid always gets the last 10 minutes.
It's really too bad.
So if the score isn't high enough, then it's like, well, I guess Real Madrid got this game. And they got it off a really sloppy Endrick goal. He ran and he kicked it from outside the box. Should not have gone in. He should have passed it and went in. And it's like, well, that's sloppy. That's sloppy, Endrick. But fun game. But what I'm saying is they both had midweek games. And then they both played together on Saturday. And one team was very up for it, Stuttgart. Maybe still hungry from that Real Madrid game. And Dortmund with Niklas Zula's blunder McGee. Niklas Zula did not cover himself in pride in that game.
We're not getting the new look Zula. No. New look Zula for new.
Daniel Young, wow, Stuttgart considered Dortmund as a fierce fight. Well, they're becoming the bogey team. I don't know if they're necessarily rivals right now, but they're definitely the bogey team because Dortmund hasn't been able to get much from Stuttgart other than buying their players.
And I was predicting Stuttgart kind of dropping off out of the top, and it looked like that was holding true. But yeah, this changes everything. So it's an interesting season. Now, are we buying into? We were sort of skeptical about Vincent Kompany as a coach of Bayern, but so far, no problems.
No problems. No, the title of this episode.
19 goals this week. 19 goals in 3 games.
Oh wow, is that?
That was wild. Yeah,
probably.
that was a wild.
Nine in the Champions League.
That was a wild. The Champions League game was wild. They were up 3, then Zagreb came back to 3-2. In the end, they won 9-2. That's like a baseball score.
Yeah, that's the old Bayern. That's the 8-2 against Barcelona. But they beat Holstein Kiel like 6-1 last weekend, right?
And then they got 9 against Zagreb, and then they got another 5 against 5 against Bremen. No, on the road 5-0 against Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen 0 shots in that game. That doesn't happen that often.
That means it's 20 goals. 19 was an underestimate. Because if I do my math
right, 19?
5 plus 9 plus 6 is 20, baby. That's 20 goals in 3 games for Bayern.
Yeah, all right. 20 goals in 3 games. That's it. That's a lot.
Seems like it's working to me. I mean,
they have a plus 13 goal differential after 4 games. That's not bad.
Bayern München are top of the European table and on top of the German table. They are right back to where they were. One season without a title was enough for them. Bayern München are back. They're the big bad.
Yeah, what do we
Bayern
think?
Again.
What do we think about this Champions League situation? We now have this gigantic table, 36 teams. The Super League is real.
Yeah. Daniel Young in the chat asking what we think of the Champions League format. I'm going to wait and see. And I was excited at first, but I'll tell you, I don't know. A, it's a lot of games. And B, I don't know, it's a little random to me. I was just like, I don't know. Did it make it less interesting to me? I think it did. I was like, well, they're never going to play these teams again. So there's no revenge. There's no payback. You know what I mean? The old format was you play everyone twice. Once home, once away. And now, Stuttgart's not going to play Real Madrid again. That's done. Dortmund and Bayern are also Bayern were not challenged at all with their clubs. There's more clubs involved and arguably more smaller clubs then because they're letting more teams in. And already we had a problem where the teams that were in at 32, some of them didn't belong at 32. Now we got 36 teams. And all we did was expand the field of those who do not belong, but did not expand the field of those who do belong. So I had this crazy thought where I'm like, they should cut it to 16 teams. How about that? That's what they should do. They should get rid of most of the teams. Yeah, cut it from 32 to 16. Have it be less groups,
well,
but have the groups be the biggest clubs.
That's the whole process we're going through right now. We're going to cut it from 36 to 16, and then we're going to have a round of 16 next year.
I say start it at 16.
Start with 16 and then just play each other over and over and over and over again.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many 9-2 games are you going to tune into with Bayern Munich versus an Eastern European club? That's no money. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
who wins that?
they're going to
who
play.
does
They're
that
going to
serve?
play other teams. I don't know. I'm kind of into it. I think it's a bigger
How much did
variety
Dortmund
of
win?
stuff.
How much did Dortmund learn in Bruges? Obviously, very little, since that weekend they went to Germany and got spanked.
So they only have to play the big teams.
No, I mean, yeah.
I like the variety. I like the variety of the games. I think this is more. I'm sympathizing with my friend Kier's Celtic team. I think for those kinds of teams, this is more interesting. You're going to be in it for longer. I think you're not going to have these situations where you get clobbered the first 2 games and it's basically over. There's a lot more opportunity.
I forgot the club that Bayern Munich played, but
Zagreb, yeah. I think for them it is kind of over, I guess. In the first,
Celtic beat Bratislava 5-1.
Are in second place of the gigantic table. So
what did Celtic learn with their 5-1 destruction over Bratislava? You think?
What do they need to learn? I think Celtic are happy not to get blown out I think when's the last time they got a win in the Champions League? That's been a while. So
featuring 2 Americans.
And and Kuhn, the new hot German. And I thought Arne Engels, because he came from Freiburg, I also thought he was German, but it turns out he's Belgian. So anyway,
maybe German Belgian. See.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna claim credit at all costs for him, but no, I think there is some interest for all these middling teams. There's going to be. And the big teams will have more room for error, and that's, I guess, perhaps positive for them, or I don't know. We'll find out. The big question mark, and we're gonna have to wait until we get further in. I think goal differential will play an outside role as a tiebreaker, because we're going to end up with a bunch of teams with similar points, and then goal differential will be the tiebreaker, and that's kind of nonsensical if the teams have not played, if you have played a different set of teams. So that's my question mark regarding this format. But overall, I'm into it so far.
Here's another bonus. Yeah, I mean, it's only been week 1. I'm very curious how it'll turn out, and the last 2 weeks will be very interesting. But as far as surprise results go, Monaco beat Barcelona, right? That was about it. Everything else was pretty par for the course.
Yeah,
right?
RB Leipzig
Liverpool beating Milan 3-1 wasn't surprising. Liverpool is a league above Milan. And but here's a side. This is also something that I guess people haven't really been talking about enough. But Vincent Kompany is working at Bayern. There was just a video today of him they're in practice, and Vincent Kompany is being the best center back at practice because he is an excellent center back. He's still young enough to play and stuff. But he is a black coach. Daniel Young says from our chat, "Thank you very much for setting an example for black men like myself and being a leader. Imagine being an exemplary leader. Yeah, good for Vincent Kompany. I mean, I don't want to be. I'm not a stats guy, but how many black coaches have Bayern Munich had in their history? I'll bet that he's the first one, right? Vincent Kompany, right? Probably. Trying to think maybe a interim head coach. Nothing comes to mind.
Probably true. Yeah.
So not only is he crushing it, he's crushing it and just in sports in general, even in American sports. How many black head coaches are there? There's never enough. And you think in soccer too, you can count them on one hand. Not on one, maybe more, but it's like few and far between. So Vincent Kompany, I do believe, deserves a special shout out for not only being a big success at Bayern so far, but also doing it as a member of the global majority, I believe is the hip new term I learned this past weekend. Global majority is a way I've seen on applications to describe underrepresented populations. I've heard them described as the global majority. I was like, oh,
they're part of the global majority. The global majority is
the American minority, but the global majority.
The global majority is everybody but white people.
Pretty much. Pretty much, I guess. I think that's. I guess I had to Google. I'm like global majority because I Googled it, and it's like people of indigenous or Asian or African descent or whatever. I'm like, all right. Anybody but white people.
Seems. We'll have to see if that turns out to be a useful term. Anyway, yeah, Vincent Company, good for him. I was skeptical.
Yeah,
I was skeptical. Obviously, not because of the color of his skin, but just because he seemed
because it's a coaching record, right? Yeah,
yeah, he didn't do that great with Burnley, and it seemed also like Bayern just couldn't find anybody. Everybody turned them down, but great. It's working out well. Working out well so far.
Also got me thinking. At first, I was like, maybe Bayern München, because Hansi Flick did really well with them. He did really badly with the national team, and Julian Nagelsmann kind of was the other way around. He wasn't bad with Bayern, but he's better with the national team. And it got me thinking, it's like maybe Bayern München just needs a guy who's out of their way. But that can't be the case either, because that's what Jürgen Klinsmann did. And he doesn't do tactics, and they were the worst under him.
Jürgen Klinsmann is a terrible, terrible coach.
Terrible coach. But so it can't be, but my conclusion is it can't be someone who gets out of their way. He is engaged. Because Jürgen Klinsmann was out of the way, and that didn't work either. So Vincent Kompany is doing something. He is figuring, he's either he's empowering them. They're just playing really well under him. And you saw 20 goals in 3 games. I mean, that's the old Bayern right there. So he's doing it. He's doing it. The Vincent Kompany experiment is working.
Getting it right. Thomas Müller was very complimentary. He said it's this new way is a lot of fun. I mean, early days. We're 4 games in, but looking good.
It's working. It's a team to beat right now in Germany and in Europe, baby. So I look forward to that. Yeah. So the week 1 of Champions League. Stuttgart had the game against Real Madrid. Bayern Munich and Dortmund were very dominant by
Leverkusen won in Feyenoord at Feyenoord. Also 4-0, so also pretty big win. Then came back and went back to their Leverkusen ways this weekend. They were down at halftime against Wolfsburg. Came back to win.
4-3 right there at the death. Really fun game. A crazy, great 4-3 game back and forth. And then RB Leipzig played in the Champions League. They lost, right? Or did they tie?
They lost at Atletico Madrid. They had a win briefly, but then there's no shame in that.
Right. They were leading for a bit, yeah.
But speaking of, I don't know, you have anything else to say about the Champions League? I would...
Just 3 German wins and 2 German losses, right? Overall, decent performance from the teams.
Yeah.
3
wins, 2 losses. Yeah.
3 confident wins and 2 slight losses against good Madrid teams.
Yeah.
So, good first
road losses against the Madrid teams are no shame. In this case of Stuttgart, really, in a way, kind of an encouraging game because they looked very good, and we thought that they would potentially be more in the cannon fodder category.
You know who's looking better and better every day is Sebastian Hoeneß. He's becoming the next German super coach.
I mean, I was extremely impressed with their bravery at this game, and they kept coming, even in the face. And in the end, it didn't work out. But I mean, better teams than them have had that experience, so it's not like it's not like that's anything to be ashamed of. And we'll see how they do. It's going to be, I'm excited to see more Stuttgart now. That game really got me hyped up for this team. I like Undav anyway.
Right.
But the reason I was going to say, apropos Atletico Madrid, I was going to talk about Schalke for a second. Schalke lost at home 5-3 to Darmstadt. They're in a relegation spot. And so they let go of their coach and their Sportdirektor, Mark Wilmots. And
Belgian legend.
And Ben Manga is the new sport director. And he said he wants this team to be like Atletico Madrid. That's his new... He wants them to be rock solid defensively and then kind of a counter-attacking team. And he's looking for a coach. He hired the U23 coach, even though he lost. He has not won with his U23 team in 5 games.
From Schalke, the U23.
From Schalke, yeah. Right. And
seems like they couldn't afford anyone. He's like, we did a
no,
global coaching search. We found him. We found the new coach. We looked everywhere. No stone unturned. Ladies and gentlemen, our U23 coach. I mean, clearly,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as
they didn't have a lot of options.
It's the same that Bochum did. But yeah, no, I guess he is now looking for a coach. Let's see if Diego Simeone is available to execute
or a clone of some sort. Diego Simeone light.
Or Jean-Paul Simeone.
Simeone
can get the his special
Caleb
cousin.
Porter,
anyway,
maybe?
I don't know. That's what I wanted to. Caleb Porter. My God.
If I'm not Mark Wilmots. What was his name?
Ben Manga.
If I'm Ben Manga, first thing I do to fix Schalke, I hire Bruce Arena, baby. Call Bruce Arena and be like, listen, you're excommunicated from the American soccer scene, but you're a specialist at fixing things randomly. We're going to bring you up here. I think that'd be a great Bruce Arena project. I would love to see Bruce Arena at Schalke. I think it'd be great. I think he'd crush it there. He's got Bruce is a real German. He has a real Ruhrgebiet sensibility, I believe, because he's very matter of fact. He doesn't offer promises to anybody. He's just very straightforward, and I think he would crush it at Schalke. I'd love to see that.
Great.
I don't think it will happen at all. Of course not. But I'm just really worried about Schalke in general because they're traditionally a big club, but like their budget's dwindling. They're on the verge of being a third division club.
But now we'll see what Ben Manga, also a black man. He's of Equatorial Guinea is where he's from. And he had a very unremarkable pro playing career, and then he was a scout for many years, then he was the technical director in Watford, and now he is the Sportdirektor in Schalke. So he seems
Has
like
he ever did he play in Germany? What's his Germany connection?
He has German citizenship. He played for Düsseldorf 3 times, for Aachen once, Karlsruhe 21. Like a pretty undistinguished
journeyman career. Right.
I mean, at best, I think. He has less than 80 appearances total, and none of them in the Bundesliga. 3 Bundesliga appearances. Other than that, everything else is lower division. And then he was a scout. He became, and I guess he worked his way up in that world. So he seems like a confident guy. We'll see what happens with Schalke under him. They're definitely struggling. Other news, Mark. Is it time? Oh, right.
No,
yes, it is time.
What's your other news?
No. If we're in Bundesliga, it's time. It's time.
All right. Let me find the thing again. It is time for. Darüber mit Gerhard Struber.
Yeah.
I still have to update that drop. I want to, at the very end, I want to get a clip of him talking about his team. But it's in development.
Some water drinking sounds, maybe.
Water drinking sounds, perhaps. Köln and Düsseldorf had a 2-2 draw over the weekend.
Yeah, the Carnivals Derby.
But the weekend before that, they had a home loss to Magdeburg.
That's not
And then
good.
before that, they did beat Schalke 3-1. But I think we already talked about that. Putting them, where are they in the standings? Where's Köln in the standings?
They are in ninth. In ninth place, they have 8 points out of 6 games, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, -1 goal differential. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 14-1, +5 goal differential. Yeah.
Not amazing. They're gonna wanna pick that up a little bit. It's not Schalke, but they are looking up at Fürth, Hertha Berlin, Hannover, Hamburg, Magdeburg, Paderborn, Karlsruhe, and Düsseldorf.
Yeah, Aufstieg's already gone.
Yeah. You think?
I mean, probably.
They're only a two win. Yeah, I mean, it's looking. They need to pick it up. Gerhard. They need to pick it up. That has been this. We should put a little more. I need to clip. I need to find like a press conference clip. But that concludes this week's episode.
We don't have any inside information. He's just on our minds. Darüber, we like to talk darüber mit Strubber.
Darüber mit Strubber. That's been this week's segment of Darüber with Gerhard Strubber. Colin, good luck. Good luck, and also at Colin fans. Champions League plugging along.
We have some national team news.
Some sad national team
all
news.
bad. All bad. All the national team news is bad. Marc-Andre ter Stegen has a season-ending injury in September.
It's bad for Barcelona and bad for Germany, and it's terrible timing because it's right when Mani Neuer retired. He finally got his time.
Yeah.
He played 2 really good games as Germany's number 1, and boom, he has a very serious tibia injury or something. He's out for 8 months.
Yeah, patella tendon, torn patella tendon, I believe I read.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's very sad.
Who's the new keeper?
Who's next up? I think it's a pretty open. I don't think it's obvious.
Right. It was always who was third choice? Kevin Trapp stopped getting called in recently. I don't know.
He hasn't been called in. I think we have
there was Bert Leno for a bit, but he hasn't been in for a while.
No.
I don't think. I think it was Oliver Baumann, wasn't it? He was our third.
I think Oliver Baumann was in Oliver Baumann, Alexander Nübel, Bernd Leno, Jonas Urbik, Noah Atubolu. These are all names floating around. Neuer is not coming back. We knew that.
Or should he? He's retired. Let the new kids get it.
Kevin Trapp is hurt. Baumann and Nübel are the 2 obvious contenders.
Might be time for Nübel, who's been crushing at Stuttgart, to get his shot at the national team, I guess.
They're both pretty good. I mean, it's no problem. I mean, Oliver Baumann, he plays for Hoffenheim. He gets a little more action, I guess, in this game, so maybe that's good. Hoffenheim have not been great.
Not great. The Pellegrino watch.
Pellegrino
Our boy
watch
Pellegrino's under
but all those
right
teams,
now.
Hoffenheim, Gladbach, Wolfsburg, they're all struggling, but they can look behind themselves and rest assured in the knowledge that Bochum, Kiel, and St. Pauli will not win many games this year. So it's not going to take much. It's not going to take much to keep the division.
5 weeks in, that division's pretty established. Now, it's still a long season. Maybe Bochum and St. Pauli will get one on Hoffenheim.
Yeah,
we'll see how bad it goes with Hoffenheim. But Hoffenheim opened the season well.
Maybe we'll get Karim Benzema. Yeah. No.
What do you mean who's getting Karim Benzema? From Saudi Arabia?
Bochum's gonna sign Karim Benzema, and then we're gonna move up the table. No, there's no.
Is that a dream you had, or where are you getting this information from?
No, I'm like, there's not going to be any dramatic changes, in my opinion. It's going to be just this. It's going to be the same slog, and this year, I think
you're going to get Gio Reyna. You're going to get Gio Reyna over Christmas.
That was floating around, right? We're gonna.
Yeah, Dortmund said no. They turned it down. I would have loved that to be the case because Gio just needs to play.
Oh, it'd be a great fit. Be a great fit.
Great fit.
I mean, from his perspective,
needs a soccer player, and he needs a team that he can play on. So
from his perspective, a huge humiliation and step down. But he would play. No question.
Needs to play.
Not a question. He would play every game, and we could use him. But Dortmund are not in the habit of loaning players to Bochum. This is
what Bochum should do. You should
do?
loan Timo Weah. You should loan Yunus Musa. You should loan Gio Reyna. 3 of our best players who do not play. You should loan all 3 of those guys and let them just excel at Bochum. And then, boy, oh boy, we guys climb up the table. I know. I believe it. I know it.
I think we have. I don't think. Yeah, I think Gio's the only one that really would fill. Would address a void. I mean, I think Danny de Witt is pretty comparable to Musa in that position. I don't think Musa would be a huge upgrade over what we have, but Gio Reyna would be a quality that just doesn't exist in that roster. But anyway, these are just fantasies. They're not going to come to fruition. The other big news that made me so mad today when I just had gotten over it. You know what I'm talking about.
No. I mean, suspense.
The UEFA Referees Association said today that the Cucurella handball in the quarterfinal, Germany against Spain, should have been called a penalty, which we all knew.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we knew that. He moved his hand. Then the favorite shot is right after that. You look at Cucurella. He's looking right at the ref being like, oh, crap. And then he didn't get called, and he 100% got away with it. He's like, oh, shoot. He 100% knew he got away with it. We should have, Bjorn, we should have won the Euros, Bjorn. We should have gotten a handball. We should have knocked out Spain. We should have gone on and won the whole dang tournament. Destroy England. You know what breaks my heart? That video of all those English fans beating up that one German fan and calling him like, oh, your team's already eliminated, and like all that crap. And it's like, those bastards. And we should have stayed in. We should have knocked their butts right off in the final there. We should have knocked them off. I love that UEFA made a whole. I mean, didn't we all know this? What was I missed the news article? Is this?
Yeah, this was
some sort of meeting that happened.
No, this became official today. Well, at the time there was a whole thing about. It's so boring to even talk about it.
The handball rule interpretation.
There was a whole thing about how UEFA had specifically advised referees to be discretionary about that kind of thing, and you'd have to. But anyway, and today they said the obvious thing, which is like, if you're blocking a ball that's going towards goal and your arm is not like completely tucked in, it should be a handball, obviously. But anyway, it's just upsetting. It's like, what are we gonna do?
He extended his arm to make himself bigger, and he stopped.
We're gonna.
It's a handball.
We're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna get through. Yeah, what are we gonna do? We're gonna replay the thing? No, it's very sad. Very sad.
We're not the only team that had a thing denied. Perhaps this was karma for that one moment that U.S. fans could never stop talking about.
Oh my God, 2002.
They bring like it's become such an interesting talking point because we're in this weird world in the U.S. soccer where people talk very highly of the former teams and they won't shut up about it. And I'll talk about this in the U.S. hour. Maybe have a little rant about.
Boy.
Well, the old guy, but every I can't get through a podcast without them being like a handball away from beating Germany. That's always the term. A handball away from beating Germany. Handball away from getting out of the quarters. A handball away from blah blah blah. It's like, what is this revisionist history? You guys were down 1-0, and yeah, you should have been given a penalty. But would you have scored against Kahn? Probably not, to be honest. I mean, Kahn was a superhuman that summer. And even if you did, it's 1-1. You don't win 1-1.
Yeah, it's not
1-1.
automatic.
Germany would have then turned on and gotten the second goal. Germany was doing Germany was very sloppy that summer. It was a weird tournament for Germany. Pretty much their thing was they had the quality to go score, which they did, and then whenever they scored one goal, they then turned off and parked the bus. That's what they did the whole tournament, right? Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah.
So in the U.S. game, they parked in the bus, which is why the U.S. was coming at them. If they got that penalty and scored, then Germany would have attacked again and gotten the winning goal, and then gone and parked the bus again. I mean, they did it against.
Perhaps. I mean, that was not a super high-powered offensive German team. They scored a lot of goals of like Michael Ballack headers off corners and whatnot. It was all 1-0 games. I remember it well. It was Paraguay 1-0. I want to say it was Bernd Schneider. Yeah.
Then it was the Michael Ballack header in that USA game, and then it was the Michael Ballack header against South Korea, right? I think he did both.
Yeah, I think something.
And then no goals in the final. That's their entire knockout run.
Well, because Ballack was suspended.
Suspended.
Yeah.
And Karsten Janke and Christian Siga weren't scoring up a storm.
Who knows? Yeah. But no, your point's well taken. This is certainly not a foregone conclusion that the U.S. would have gone to win it.
Everybody in the podcast is like, we're a handball away from winning the game. I'm like, what is this nonsensical revisionist history? What is nonsensical? And I love the U.S., don't get me wrong, but come on, I also like to keep us grounded.
I've done
Here we go. How about this from Daniel Young? He coaches NYCFC to a CCL title and a U.S. Open Cup title. But I noticed not an MLS Cup title. Is that not a list of your...
We already got that.
Young, is that not a priority?
We already got one of those.
Yeah, but the way it works is you try to get more than one. I don't know. Are you
take
guys never
it.
going to win another MLS Cup? Because
Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola's coming. 2026.
I think it's Jean-Paul Guardiola. His nephew's coming.
No. The real deal. The real deal. This was a. I mean, I think Pep Guardiola is going to coach NYCFC at some point. I've said this before. I believe it still. This was kicking around on Twitter. We should talk about this in the USA Hour. I guess this is not a Germany thing.
He has one caveat. He has one caveat though. He has to do it entirely by Zoom. He won't be there in person. One of his assistants is going to be holding up an iPad at all times. And
he loves New York. He spent a year. He spent a year in New York. No,
yeah.
He wants to come.
He doesn't love Queens or the Bronx. He loves Manhattan. So he's going to be in Manhattan in his penthouse, and he will coach NYCFC.
Oh, he's not going to zoom from. He's not going to zoom from Europe. He's going to zoom.
No, he's zooming from Manhattan.
From the Manhattan penthouse.
From the Upper East Side, or wherever he lives.
Like in the hot tub. Yeah, I can't.
Substitute.
Just put me on the iPad. Just put me on the iPad on the bench. Let Mehdi Bellucci's going to sit on the bench and listen to. Wait, Pep, what?
Do you guys have that in New York? They have them all over LA. Those little robots that deliver Uber Eats. Do you have that in New York?
No.
They're the cutest little things. These little robots that deliver Uber Eats. And NYCFC is going to have one with an iPad attached to it, and it's just going to be Pep Guardiola rolling around the Pep Bot.
The Pep Bot.
Substitute. Dang. Yeah. Anywho, do you have any last thoughts with the Germany Hour? Bundesliga is rolling. You know, other than the Dortmund game over the weekend, everyone's
we got big games. Got big games coming up. Bayern's playing Leverkusen in the late game on Saturday. Dortmund is going to beat Bochum playing Bochum on Friday.
Well,
the
probably. The Kleine Riviera Derby, right? Is that what's called? The Kleine Derby?
Kleine Revier Derby. Yeah, they're gonna take it all out on us, all their Stuttgart frustrations.
But the Spitzenduell, Bayern Leverkusen versus Bayern München.
Yeah. Ay.
It always makes me think of that guy from Power.
Boah.
Yeah.
Derek
we have yet to have
Ray's
him on the podcast. We'll get him on the podcast. Derek Ray, the greatest champion of German soccer here in the United States. And
play the drinking game whenever he says for this Revier Derby. Whenever he says currywurst, you have to drink.
Currywurst. I'll eat a currywurst too.
Currywurst. All right, that's it for the German Hour. Yeah.
Yep.
Come join us on the other side for some MLS talk. My team.
Big blow.
My team shut down Messi.
The Ter Stegen blow is the big blow. That's crazy. He's just so unlucky, that Ter Stegen. Good news is hopefully he'll be healthy. What's up with German goalkeepers being out for a year before major tournaments? This is like the third time it's going to happen to us in the last 6 years or whatever. Happened with Neuer twice. Now it's happening with Ter Stegen.
Who's going to play goalie for Barcelona? Who is their backup?
Diego Cochin, young American. Diego Cochin.
American?
No, I'm joking. Although he might make his way on the bench now because he's a third or fourth choice keeper. But I think they're going to have to go on the loan market and get a replacement for the year, right? Or something.
Claudio Bravo said he's coming back out of retirement if they need him to.
Yeah, they'd do that. I think that'd be a good fit. It's a shame just when Barcelona was picking up steam too, because they were also really.
Oh, they still crushed Villarreal. They're still looking good. They'll find another goalie.
They lost to Monaco though. All right, this has been the Germany Europa Hour. We are talking MLS. We're talking ties, oh glorious ties.
Yeah, some better than others.
Ties, some better than others. Okay, tschüss.
Tschüss.
Bis nächste Woche.